As women, be strong, you know, and be yourself. Because the more you are yourself, you can transform the world, and we have that power as women where we can. But we get into a lot of these small things which really are beyond, and we have so much more capability to go beyond this. So I would only say be you, be strong, and you can be the transformer of so many people around you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Networking and Beyond. Today, before I introduce our next guest, I'd like to take this time off to wish each and every woman watching this episode a very happy Women's Day. You are the strongest pillars in a family and in the society, and without you, there is no way we can function to its optimum level. Today, we have with us one such special woman who's Ami Doshi, a handwriting analyst and also a personality expert. She helps people solve their problems in life. And you must listen to this podcast if you want some takeaways regarding your own. Without further ado, let's welcome a director consultant in BNI South region, Miss Ami Doshi. Miss Ami Doshi, welcome to Networking and Beyond. How does it feel to be on the show?
It's lovely. I think I'm too excited to be on this journey with you.
Superb. And I think when I spoke to you the very first time, there were so many things that I was able to catch through your profession, through your personal life. But one specific area that I ask most people on the show is, where did it all start? What were you like a child?
I was a very pampered child, and being a single child with all the elders in the family, born and brought up in a joint family, coming from an advertising background. So I've been in all the limelight and I've seen the who's who of the advertising industry in those years, and have lived with a golden spoon. So I think I would say that, yeah.
Yes. Now that you were the single child and everything came along your way, what happened post your school education? What happened in college? What were some of the things that you went through?
I think my school was pretty smooth. I was always an extrovert in terms of taking part in a lot of activities, lot of cultural things. College also, I always liked being, involved in a lot of things. So I'm not a very studious kind of a person, but something which I always enjoyed was being with people, taking part in dances, taking part in dramatics,
Cultural program.
a lot of things. So jack of all, I would say, and I used to love that part of me.
Okay. So enjoying extracurricular, enjoying a lot of these additional things college has to give us. Not many people go through, but what was the course you were studying? I'm pretty sure you were not studying engineering or medicine because you wouldn't have had the time.
Yeah. I was a commerce graduate, but I was more into, more of fashion designing. So I pursued fashion designing.
Okay.
And I kind of dropped out of college, and after my 12th grade, I did my fashion designing. And then through correspondence and distance learning, I completed my BCom, graduation. So technically, I'm a apparel manufacture and design student with a BCom graduation.
Wow. I think you have two different courses, but again, somewhere do link up. Did you go on to pursue a job, or did you further your studies after that?
Yeah, so I did work for some time with big designers.
Okay.
I didn't want to become like a CA or anything like that, not good with maths or accounting. But designing gave me a lot of scope to work with big designers like Tarun Telyani, and I've done a lot of fashion shows with them and done a backstage work for them in bridal wear. And that
Okay.
is when I could start my own boutique over a period of time.
That's fantastic. So your first job was a boutique. What was your first job like?
My first job was my assignment with Tarun Telyani, where I was working for his design label, designing clothes, and also doing the backstage wherein it used to come for trials or model used to come for trials. So, how do you fit the right outfit for the models was something which I was into. So, that was my first stipend job that I would say.
That's fantastic. Now, moving on, I mean, your story to start off with sounds almost perfect. But I'm pretty sure there is nobody's life that is perfect. There is one incident that changes everybody's life. If I had to ask you, which was that turning point incident in your life, what was that?
I think that came in when my daughter was born and she was 40 days old. And my husband went through a major accident on Bombay Pune expressway where his kind of car toppled and he was kind of struck there and nobody to help. But fortunately, things just started rolling after his accident and he got the first aid and things happened very fast after that. But that was the time when I realized that, when I saw him first after about 5-6 days, because I was not even aware that he had an accident. My family did not tell me that just because I was kind of nursing a young infant. And when I saw him, I realized that I have now to be a much stronger person because now that all that pampering that I have got is all kind of, I need to put it aside. But because I have a child and the husband who really needs support,
Correct.
not that he's asking for it, but I want to, be there for him. So that was then the turning point that, okay, now where does the strength come in as a mother and as a wife and as a daughter-in-law, and I think
They say hard times are a test of true spirit and character. And I truly believe that, like you said, had to ask you to step up from where you were.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that would have given you a lot of strength to face a lot of other kind of potholes or, pitfalls in life.
Yes. So that gave me a big insight that it's possible, because if I can do this with the support, definitely, I mean, my family, my in-laws, everybody, but I knew internally how weak they were, and if I was not being strong, they would have to handle one more person, to take
True.
care of.
Very
And
true.
that is when I realized that I think enough of, I've got that share of pampering. Now it's my share to do that for others. And I think it's beautiful.
Okay, so through this journey where you faced this and through the marriage as well, were you pursuing fashion as your career? And at even that accident time, were you pursuing the same thing?
No, I was not. I stopped my designing when I was pregnant with my first child. And that was when I was pursuing parenting, and I kind of became a parenting coach. So after my child was about, say, 1.5, 2 years old, I became a parenting coach and I started understanding that, the tough times that I was with my child alone and, my husband being in that state, I had to kind of become a better mother and, not become like a victim to the whole situation.
Very true.
And how would I instill those values in my child? And that is when I realized that that was more powerful, and that journey for me was more transforming, than just designing clothes.
Correct.
So I think that was slowly my evolution is when that began.
And it also looks like you started this inner change as a mother
Yeah.
that you wanted to give to your child and soon transitioned that into coaching.
Yes.
So what's the story behind that transition phase? Like, when did you realize, hey, I can actually convert this into a module which people could use and then possibly I could monetize this?
So there is already an institute in Bombay who is into parenting, and that is from where I had already pursued my parenting program. So my coaches were like, if you can transform yourself, and they have seen my journey over the years, and they said that, why can't you share it with other people? And this is something which would inspire others, because there are so many moms going through such challenges, and you being with them would kind of really show them a way. And I realized that if the more I used to talk with more mothers and like going to school or just playing in a park, I realized that yes, it can be very inspiring for them to get out of that very subtle things,
Correct,
that okay. And I felt, okay, I am ready to take on this new journey for myself.
Correct.
So that inspired me, yes.
When and where was this? Like, which was that first breakthrough incident, you could say?
I think I would say when I was going to school with my daughter, it was a mother toddler class, and I had this one parent who kept talking about their family issues. And I said, what do you want to do about it? You want to handle the child, or you want to crib and become a victim to the family that is there? And she said, no, I want to become a better mom. And I said, okay, so what do you want to do about it? I said, I will do this and I will not do this. I said, okay, so let's stick to just what you will do, forget what you will not do. And she said that, every day I will wake up and have this time with my husband and time with my daughter, and I'm going to cherish that time day on, every week. And that is what, within 2 weeks, is what I saw a change in the outlook that she had, and the parent, the child, at home, the whole environment changed just because of that one thing that, she kind of took a stand that I will focus on this. And I think that was when I felt that, okay, I can be the little catalyst for some people and nudge them to take that one step.
Yes. And I think once we impact our own lives and we understand our own journeys, it's far more, I don't want to say easier, but I can say better to impact somebody else through their journey. So I want to know that you said that you worked with children. We worked with parents who had children. That means it's pretty much the whole family, you can say, right?
Yes.
What, according to you, is a happy family? Because you've come from a very happy face and an upbringing. What is a happy family, according to you?
See, I think a happy family for me is a lot more to do with, the way we respect each other, the way we allow each other to bloom, and not have this thing of you need to be in this frame and you need to have this skeleton for you. So the moment you have that freedom in the family to communicate, to listen and to understand each other, I think that becomes a happy family with whatever challenges are there. But that I can go back to my family and I can be that one person and they will not judge me.
Correct.
So that is something which I believe a definition of a happy family.
Fantastic. And I can definitely second that as well, because there's nothing more than that communication and compatibility that you have. I also know that you had a very long journey. You came all the way from the other half of Bangalore to here, Whitefield. And you also invited me over call to come and see your place there. And I know that you have a games library there. Now, I asked you what a games library is. I know what it is. I want you to tell the viewers what a games library is and where is it in Whitefield.
So the games library is a setup just like a books library. And in Whitefield, I have about 2,500 plus games, wherein it's about developing life skills. So say you want to develop problem solving skills. Now, in the forum or the education system that we have, we don't have tools to develop that, and that is what games do. The way you play a game will actually trigger the way you think and will trigger the way you behave. So when you play a certain game, you can develop those skills. So I have games from, say, developing problem solving, decision making, logical thinking, creativity, broad-mindedness, you name it, and those skills are there.
Are all these games a part of your courses that you also do, or your programs?
Yes, they do become a part eventually. But right now, you can subscribe as a membership. You can take it on rent, and you kind of week on week, you have like where you can exchange books the same way you exchange games to develop.
I think here is a great insight, and it comes from somebody who's in the communications training, and I work with a lot of children. And one specific part of my training most children enjoy is the part where we have games and activities.
Yes.
There's something so magical about playing and learning that I think a lot of our education system does not have. What do you think about that?
It is true because games is, when you play a game, you are your true character. And that is what shows, and because you learn by your true character. And if we could bring in that experience for everyone, I think the learning is more. You can retain the learning much more because it becomes your long term memory and it stays on for a much longer because now it's more personal, it's more reflective, and you can identify with your personality in this particular way. So that becomes my own thing. It's not a bookish or it's not somebody else's theory, but it's my own learning. So I would really enjoy that. As a play therapist, I think I enjoy this journey. Yeah.
Superb. Ma'am, so you've given me two things about your business. Number one, you work with families, you help them set right all those things around their learning curve, their compatibility curve. You also work with, you also run a games library where you rent out games on a subscription model. Now, is this all you do, or is there something else that you have to add on to this?
Yes, I am a handwriting analyst and a handwriting therapist. So basically, I analyze human behavior through handwriting, and the way you write shows your true character and shows how you are as a person. And that is when you can identify your true strengths, your true core areas of improvement, and really change that into your life.
Ma'am, so if I gave you a sheet of my handwriting, so could you exactly tell what I would do in my future, where I am, and my emotional state of mind?
Yes. So what you will be able to do, I'm not an astrologer. So I can't tell you what you will be able to do, but I can definitely tell you what your paths could be,
Okay.
and what can be your obstacles that
Okay.
will come in, and how can you change that path to live where you want to be. So if you have a goal, I could tell you that because of these traits, you will not be able to reach your goal. But if you change something of it, definitely you are able to kind of move on. So that is that.
Well, I wish we could have a quick demo class or a 10-minute class right away on camera, but we'll keep that for later. So moving on, what connected the both of us is the platform BNI. And I want to know, how did you stumble upon this platform? Who was the one who introduced you to a BNI platform?
So I had one of my clients had told me BNI about, I think, 4 to 5 years back. But that time it was too early for me in terms my children were young and the timings didn't match. But then a good friend, Neha Mathur, she was, we had some things where she came to my office and she just kind of dropped in a little thing that, "Oh, would you like to come to BNI? There is a chapter in Whitefield. And would you like to just attend and see how it is?" And I think that is what triggered that, okay, that one little push that I required. And it just happened. And now it's been 3 years now, I'm in BNI. And a fantastic way that my business has prospered, or the way I'm doing work with a lot of people. And I think podcast with you has happened because of BNI. So yes.
Yes. That's fantastic. Now, BNI, you said you've been here for 3 years.
Yeah.
You've served at various roles. To all the new members and the members who are going to join, prospective members, can you tell us one predominant success story you've had in BNI and one success story outside BNI?
So BNI, I would say now my 95% of business comes from BNI. Okay, so a success story where I have been able to work with a person who was going through, I would say, complete depression, or not depression, but a low phase in terms of business, in terms of life, in terms of relationships. And now that person is a president of the chapter. He has been able to kind of turn around his business. He is now working with another person where now he's planning to get married. So, those things have kind of really changed his life, and he's been able to see a new outlook for himself. So I would not be able to say the name of the person, but yes, this is where the turning point for his life has come after going through certain sessions and changes in the way he writes and thinks.
Super.
So that's been the journey with BNI. Outside BNI, I think yes, I have had a patient was going through suicidal tendencies. And now that person is has gone to Harvard and kind of pursuing his master's and wants to set up his own business and kind of, fund more businesses. So that has been, I think, where from giving up life to now he's giving life to more businesses.
Superb. I think that's a great line that you just said. And how do you feel when you are the core impact for all these people?
See, I would still say I'm just a catalyst, and I'm a catalyst for that transformation. Unless the person was willing or unless the person was ready for it, I wouldn't be able to do that. So I still give all the credit for the work that they have done. But yes, it feels a very humbling experience that somewhere one part of their life where I've been able to kind of transform. So definitely a way to kind of move ahead and do more that you believe in and keep doing that, because that is something which just drives you. I think money comes much later. Yes. But that person who tells you that every time something happens and you're there and that person wants to come back to you and share the happiness also, I think I've done my job.
Yeah, absolutely. I can agree with you on that. And I think it's a great, satisfying job that way. Today is Women's Day. So happy Women's Day from me and the team. One specific question for Women's Day is, women also go through their own set of challenges in different ways. What would be one piece of advice you would want to give women out there who are trying to pursue their own dreams?
So I would only say, as women, be strong, and be yourself. Because the more you are yourself, you can transform the world, and we have that power as women where we can. But we get into a lot of these small things which really are beyond, and we have so much more capability to go beyond this. So I would only say, be you. Be strong, and you can be the transformer of so many people around you, and just more power to us.
Yes. Thank you so much for that lovely word. And I think it comes from somebody who's also done a lot of learning, you could say trainings, who's been in the business. Now you're in BNI, you're a DC in BNI, and for the kind of growth you've seen, I think definitely everybody out there should understand the importance of being authentic, because at the end of the day, if you're not authentic, you're not yourself, right? So we've known you enough, ma'am, about your business side of things and you as a person. One thing that I want to know more is something apart from business. What are some of your interests, your passions and hobbies?
Oh, I love dancing. Mm-hmm. I love food. And I love traveling.
Okay. So
that is something which I feel, those are the three things that I just enjoy. And more of, I'm a more gadget. I'm not a very gadget person, but I like my me time in terms of, I would say, the movies or some binge watching that I get. So I like that my time. And I enjoy certain, a good phone and a good time with myself is something which I kind of feel good about.
Mm-hmm. That's nice. And everybody has their own ways of doing this. And I think traveling and food are one of the biggest stress busters that we can find, especially in a busy business schedule that we have.
Yes, yes.
So, one last question in this segment. In the next 5 years, where do you see yourself in terms of business and in terms of your personal life?
Next 5 years, I still want to learn a lot. There are so many things that I would want to learn as an individual in terms of where I could still help more people. So, a lot of trainings are there on my list and people that I want to kind of pursue things for. And work-wise, I'm still on a mission to, enable 1 million people. So want to transform and reach up to them and reach out to them that how can I really make a difference and simple changes that they could go through and make, long-lasting changes for their lives. So, one change could live to a kind of lead to a long-lasting change. And that is something which I would really want to kind of be there in that space. So next 5 years, that's where I would want to be.
I'm pretty sure whatever change you wish to inspire and create will definitely happen. And I think for the kind of person you are who's continuously growing and learning, learning will automatically come as a part of your arsenal. On that note, thank you so much, Ami ma'am, for coming on this wonderful show. I've had a great takeaway. And we come to the end of this first segment and we move on to the fun element and the fun segment of our podcast, which is the rapid fire. So are you ready?
Oh, wow. Okay, this is a surprise. Yes. Yes.
Okay, my first question to you is what motivates you to get out of bed every morning?
Transforming lives.
Transforming lives. Name another business profession you wouldn't mind getting into.
Financial advisor.
Financial advisor. Any specific reason?
Because I don't know. So I
Nice answer. Name 3 business leaders you would want to have a discussion over dinner.
over dinner. I would love to have one is with my husband. And but business leader, I would say, yeah, more of a Ratan Tata. I would mind. And one person I know, I mean, he's not very famous, but a client of mine, and he's doing some amazing work. So I would want to really know more from him.
Superb. If you were given $1 million, what would you do with it?
Wow, start up a academy, and I want one space for myself where people can come and really transform their lives. So a more holistic center is what I would want to open.
Superb. What are some of the most inspirational books, if not videos, that you've come across?
One book, Conversation with God, and one is I think that 4-hour week. I mean 4-hour week. Yeah, how do you make it like a 4-hour thing and make? So that is something which is inspiring me. That how do you make that happen?
Superb. If you authored a book, what would you call it?
Be the catalyst.
Be the catalyst. What is the best advice you've ever got?
Yeah, don't let people take you for granted.
What is that one community that you would like to recommend to people just like BNI? Any other community you'd like to recommend?
I'm not part of too many communities, but I think where people are equally treated. So it could be like your, say, Rotary or something where people could kind of get their potential out in some way or the other.
And of course, there is BNI.
There's BNI. Definitely there's BNI. So
are you a coffee or a tea person?
none.
No,
I'm a milk person.
Indoor or outdoors?
Outdoor.
Outdoor. If you could teach one subject in school, what would it be?
Life skills.
Life skills. Formals or casuals?
Indian casuals.
Indian casuals. What was your worst subject in school?
Maths.
Mathematics, nice. What would you do on a rainy day?
What would I do on a rainy day? Go out with an umbrella or just have fun and eat some pakoda and chai?
Lovely. If you could make a documentary about anything, what would it be?
How people have evolved in their life, and how they have kind of really come from where they were and changed themselves for the betterment and spread that.
Yeah. Okay, we come to the end of the rapid fire. This is probably one of the quickest rapid fires we've had. Thank you, Miss Ami, for coming on this wonderful podcast. I personally had a lot of learnings and takeaways. I never knew that handwriting could be, the face of an individual's personality. And looking forward for a lot more knowledge sharing and a lot more networking from both of our ends. Thank you so much for coming on this show.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Larry. Thank you.
So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a great listen to this podcast. And for more such episodes, please make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and share this wonderful podcast. Until next time, I'll see you.